All right, good evening. It's in the evening. It's around actually it's 4 p.m. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. It's today is Sunday, March 8th, and I just look up on the map, on the weather map. It shows that the weather app. It shows that today the sun is going to go down around 7 p.m. So the spring moves forward, which make the time moves forward, but also we kick off the spring's season. That means we're gonna have more sunlight than before. So this is again beautiful and amazing. That being said, I am just driving to College Park, Maryland, where I'm going to attend some Christian worship, which I haven't gone to for a long time. And I don't really have never been this area before, never drove here before. I drove here before, but once in a while I've got to drive in an area like this. But today I went out, I did some walking around. I enjoyed the neighborhood. It took me like 30 minutes to walk around. I actually realized that I live in a nice neighborhood. The neighborhood has nice walkways and nice places to exercise. So yeah, it's a beautiful Sunday. It's not hot, it's not too cold. The temperature is 74 degrees Fahrenheit, and also I need to wear a seat belt so that I won't get pulled over and get some ticket. I'm gonna have to find a ways to stop. But I cannot believe that few months ago, since November, it was extremely cold in this area. Cold after cold after cold. Now people are going out, people are exercising. You can now see who lives here. I'm gonna have to put the seatbelt on, because if I don't, this won't be cool enough. All right, so that's like today's date. Like I said yesterday's video, there is not really much going on. We are embracing the economic sort of crisis, I would say. The highest unemployment rate is going up. The more expenses going to the war near Iran. Then we have tariffs. Trump has now moved on from tariffs to focus more on war. So something he could have done. Then there is federal workers got fired. They haven't got their jobs yet. Then there is remember I mentioned last year in 2025, when Trump became a president, many companies flocked to Washington DC to secure some fundings, right? And among those companies, there was Anthropic. There was it seems like I'm getting the speed. That's pretty good. There was Anthropic. There was another company was I forgot the name of it. It was ChatGPT or OpenAI, as they may call it. So there was OpenAI and Amazon, AWS, and the many other corporations that flocked to DC. And then we have other buzzwords Oh, it's getting hot in the vehicle. There was other companies, startup companies from Silicon Valley that were trying to secure the federal contracts, right? And I mentioned this, that the biggest problem was, look at this guy invading my space. The biggest concern was privacy, right? And the rest of the world trust US companies because of the privacy policies. This is why people use ChatGPT. This is the reason why people use ChatGPT. People use people use things like so the reason why people use Facebook, Google, Twitter, right? It's because they trust for many years that US has always given private companies to be able to maintain their data for their customers. But Trump administration has been doing like what China does, right? At first they employed Elon Musk, who had access to social security, has access to informations and clarified information because he had top secret clearance. That was worrisome because Elon Musk is an outsider and he's a billionaire. So, but they did that, right? Then later on they realized he's a risky guy, so they fed him, and then they kept the Doge employees, Doge staffers, but he was gone. So the debate has always been, you know, like how trustable is the government having access to data? That was the biggest question that people were asking themselves. It didn't take that much. It didn't take that long to find out that a company like Anthropic, which Anthropic is like a company that coders use, the right codes. It's easy. You know, he has billions of codes that people can go and reuse them. So the government uses that data not only to bombard Iran, but also they use the same data to to spy on American people, right? That they do that. They also use the same data to deport migrants. All right. Many migrants who are deported was due to the surveillance of these softwares that give out the data to the government. All right. And if they refuse, they get penalized. So Anthropic CEO refused to give the data to the government, and then immediately they had a backlash from the government. So they they canceled the contract, so they don't have a contract with the government anymore. And another company merged, ChatGPT, the OpenAI moved in and they took the contract, you know. So I haven't used ChatGPT for a long time. I don't use AI, OpenAI anymore, and I don't use what's the other companies? I don't use OpenAI anymore. I also don't use Crowd. I use Google Gemini. If you use DuckDuckGo, if you ever seen this AI in DuckDuckGo, that's ChatGPT 0.4. It's not updated. It's old school, but it can give out very basic information, like the definition of something, grammar, something like that, something simple. But the advanced OpenAI is no longer supported by these corporations like Google. Google has already moved on. They have their own AI. And also Google is a big company. This is why you should be careful with new startup companies like OpenAI, because these companies that are starting off, they are like prostitutes. right? They're looking for money as soon as possible. They're just looking for anything to survive. And they tend to be drawn in by the government contracts, because the government of the United States, every government in the world, they have their own interests. So they bring you on as a contractor, and if they don't like you, if they think, you know, if they don't like you anymore, they just dump you. So OpenAI is gonna fall really soon. Recently, OpenAI had so many contracts from AWS to NVIDIA to many private individuals, including the government. Small farms we're using OpenAI, but because OpenAI now is going to the government and they accept to give out the data, they might lose customers soon. They might also face a lot of protests. All right, because, you know, in times of war like this, where we see the US fighting against Taiwan, surveillance becomes a key, and you can be a victim of mass surveillance even if you're not in any way supporting the war. Like, for instance, the gas price is really up. It's going up. It's almost $3.49, and it's gonna go to $5, and they might even go to $7. The diesel is $5 already, so diesel is very expensive. The gas prices has nothing to do with the war in Iran, but there is an indirect effect, because Iran supplies a lot of oil to China. China supplies cheap goods to the American people. So when the United States started the war in Iran, they didn't consider the consequences. In fact, they were so dumb that they had tariffs. So not only are people disincentivized, they hate America for the tariffs reasons, they also did a deportation. Some people are supposed to be working in these low-paying jobs, migrants, they all got deported. Right? And those who didn't get deported, they are scared to go to work. So those effects are out there. And then they fired federal workers who are supposed to be working to restore diplomats and peace and whatever. And nobody wants to work in the government for Donald Trump's government anymore. So that has crippled many things. So when you see the prices going up, it's not because of the war in Iran is affecting it. It's because, you know, we rely on China, and China is now has to pull back, or it has to find out ways of shifting the consumption around. Right? US doesn't ship oil outside, so we have Trump has already opened up oil reservoir. They are drilling already, but that's not enough, right? That's not gonna upset the prices on the market. Another thing to notice here is that last year when the tariffs kicks in, they didn't necessarily affect the businesses, because they were waiting to see after 3, 4, 5 months, when they run the accounting, they can see the effect. So it doesn't go in that fast. So now we are seeing all these prices kicking in, even though Trump administration has been ordered, thanks to the Supreme Court, the government has been ordered to refund all the money back to the consumer, citing tariffs as illegal. All right, but that's not going to mean that this, you know, that's not going to help people who have been affected indirectly, like the fees that has to go in there, you know, some paying the employees or firing the employees, like this. They have to switch things around. All right, so doing these things at the same time in 1 year is the worst. Now, Trump could have passed the tariffs slowly over time, instead of like one time. He could have passed tariffs the first year and wait for that to kick in. Then next year they could have studied and find out the effects of those tariffs, if there was any money collected, if there was any or reduction in China's dependency, if there was any reduction in deficit. Then if not, then they could have done another tariffs or reciprocate or some kind of changes. But he did not. He changed it he changed it every single second, like every single night. Second, he should have fired federal workers right away. He could have, maybe give them the mandates to leave, finish their contracts, or maybe give them other jobs. If you fire them, give another jobs. Maybe move them to the military or move them to something else. Trying to find something to do. Now these federal workers, they are out there sitting somewhere, not working, not doing anything. Right? Like, that is not good. That is not the best way to do things at the same time. So you have these federal workers sitting home, doing nothing but just waiting to get hired. All right. The last thing that the government did was to I thought he was stopping. The last thing the government did was to attack Iran. Okay, they did attack Venezuela, which was to the purpose of attacking Venezuela was so that they can have oil from Venezuela, so that if there is an attack on Iran, the US doesn't struggle with oil. So that was the only purpose, right? And yes, this worked. We don't have to struggle with oil. If the oil prices goes up in the United States, we could see Trump pressuring Venezuela to supply more oil to the US consumer. So that's a positive thing. But then they could have maybe attacked Iran maybe next year, maybe by 2020. Trump could have done this by the end of his administration. I think that would have been so good. But like he said that this was the only opportunity he had to strike Ayatollah, because he's been a very, very hard guy to kill. So hey, as long as we can fix the economy here in a country, who cares, right? As long as we can have jobs can open up, tariffs can be eliminated. Look at those kids and the wife. I don't know if that's a mom or if that's a grandma. If she's a mom, that has to be the most oldest mom I've ever seen. So you get the point. I guess you get the idea that Trump administration could have done better, but whatever they did, maybe they had a better strategy. Alright, I'm always assuming that they're gonna do something good. But if he could have attacked Iran by the end of his administration, 2028, that way a new government comes in, then comes with a new policy. It comes with a new things. So they come in and they prioritizes the US economy instead of like focusing on foreign. But what Trump started is going to go on for the next couple decades or so, because stop, don't cross the street. Look at this place. Which area is this? Look, I don't know which area is this. Looks fine. So we will see what Trump has to do. I mean, he has many years to lead, and he has many explanations to tell American people. US lost 6 soldiers like talking about like trained soldiers. Okay, it's not that easy to go to the army and become a, this high skilled fighter. One soldier was injured in Venezuela raid, but in Iran they lost 6 of them because Iran attacked all the US military bases. Also, Iran apologized to their neighbors because I think that was stupid on their side. The problem is not about their neighbors, the problem is about Israel and the United States. So I have no clue why was why did Iran just choose to send rockets to Qatar and Kuwait. That was stupid on their side, and also if they did, they could have at least informed their neighbors. Like, Israel does not just bomb the area. Israel informs the locals. They tell them, we're gonna shoot the area so people can evacuate. Okay, they do inform people. This is why they are not really bothering. That's why I think Iran is not bothering, because they know that they have such a they don't keep civilians in mind when they do these operations. They don't keep in mind of, they don't care about the diplomacy. Tells you something about their regime. So anyways, I'm getting to where I'm going. I'm just gonna have to turn here, stop at the College Park, and thanks for watching. Like always, have a good time here at College Park. I hope you enjoy this beautiful town. It's boring, nothing going on here. It's always boring. Alright, that's all I have. Like always, ciao ciao. Look at the metro over there. Like always, ciao ciao, adios, bye bye, spasiba. Thank you.